I must begin by saying how warmly I welcome this conference on landmines.
Boom, 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 now let me hear you say, well. I say, boom, boom, boom. I say, boom, 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 now let me hear you say, well. I say, boom, boom, boom.
Boom, 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 boom. I want you in my room. Let's spend the night together from now until forever. Boom, 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 boom. La, 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 la. God, sorry. Graphic flashback to a leather bear rave back in the 90s. But that's what happens when the word someone says boom. Straight away, I just go back to that rave. It was fantastic. The Birmingham boys were so hot. Anyway, lovely listeners, enough 90s flashbacks and all the rest of it. Let's talk about 2024 and episode 3 of Doctor Who with Suky and Ruby. The question is, what did we all think of Boom? What is a big bang? Or was it just a little bit of a sizzle? What do we think? So, as always, tonight...
Whose phone's going off?
Mine. Someone
That's a
making
proper
it.
old-fashioned phone, that.
Shall we do the professional thing and start again?
No.
No.
Because I want to hear all of that again.
That means editing, John.
No, it doesn't. You
No.
keep all this in, but we have to do it officially for the podcast.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do it again?
I mean, I don't know.
I've turned it on to silent now.
Bob doesn't want you
Absolutely
to,
not.
so all right,
No.
then. Okay, we won't.
I mean, that was enough.
I would just like to say, dear listeners, right now.
By the way, that
self-employed-
introduction, before you go on, Craig, that introduction's
Yeah.
fantastic advertisement for cocaine. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I mean, I know you don't, but I mean, you know, it would be a great advert for coke.
Anyway, as you probably gathered, dear listener, we are, as always, a 5 and obviously 6 being yourself around the concept. I am joined by my gorgeous, beautiful friends, Suky, Cliff, John, and Bob, and we are reviewing Boom by Stephen Moffat. And what did we think of it? Well, that's the big question. I'm going to go straight in. I'm going to go to fellow raver Cliff. What did you think, darling?
Well, I watched it and I thought, what's Moffat going to do? And I was pleasantly surprised. It had a lot in there. It had the tension. I thought it was the first 10 minutes, I was a bit unsure. It felt a bit like, oh, this is going to be a bit daft. But then after that, it was plain sailing, and I really enjoyed it.
Good stuff. Sounds like a positive there. Let's go to John.
A professional host wouldn't go back to the guy who just dipped a ginger nut into his tea.
Didn't notice that. When
You know what I mean?
Dipping your nuts in tea, it proper burns.
Well, you know, what did I think about it? It felt very reminiscent of old Stephen Moffat stories. It felt very Stephen Moffat from the very first moment. It felt like the setup that he would do. The only difference in it was the Suky was in it, and apart from the fact that he cries for some apparent reason at the start, I think it was a thoroughly enjoyable story. Thought it was nicely done. It was obviously a little bit of a bottle episode because they didn't really want to spend a great deal on the set and all that sort of stuff. But the concept was decent, and I think it did a lot of its critical commentary about the weapons and industrial complex kind of thing. So, yeah, I'm fairly impressed with it. I thought it was good. Long may Stephen Moffat carry on writing them.
Oh, controversial. Suky, darling, babe.
Hello, sweetie. Yes, no, I enjoyed this episode. It was really good. I quite liked the concept of the Doctor just being on a landmine and not being able to move and do anything, and having to solve the problem just standing there. The only thing, there was a couple of things which I didn't agree with, but mostly I quite enjoyed this episode.
I knew Suky would find something.
He's just a very big proponent for the weapons industry. He doesn't like it.
He has a side industry in the Vanguard industry.
I have a monopoly on these sort of things, and yet all of a sudden the Vanguard or whatever they were,
Vanguard, yeah.
Vanguard or whatever they are would be the DVD sellers of the future. Is that what we're saying?
Ooh, dear John.
Okay, Bob, honey, what did you think?
Fucking honey.
I'm doing deliberately to annoy you.
I know you did. Yeah. So I do a bit just to touch on what John said. Really, this in a Moffat season, this would have been one of his fillers for budget reasons. It was good. It was good Doctor Who. good Moffat Doctor Who, nothing amazing. My issue is the Shooty do not see him as the Doctor, and when you've got a very Doctor heavy episode, you want to see the Doctor, and I did not see the Doctor. So yeah, I'm a bit like, I think I'm not going to get deep, but I think I've got many theories on why my issue with Shooty. But I think it's like, I don't mind it when it's all fucking stupid and daft, like the sort of last three have been, including the Christmas special. But when they try and do Doctor Who, he's not the Doctor, so I just can't get into it. When it's doing his stupid whatever they do version of Doctor Who, I don't mind it because I can kind of excuse it or just look past it. But when they try to do Doctor Who and there's not a Doctor that I can see, I'm a bit. It would have been brilliant if it had been Matt Smith or Jodie or Capaldi or whoever, but he's not the Doctor, and that's me.
Is that because it's just too soon for you, Bob?
No, I've got a big, deep theory as to why it is,
Okay.
and I think it's him as a person. I'll come into it deep later.
Yeah,
but yeah,
coming to it later. Okay, right. For me, I thought this was a big improvement from episodes 1 and 2. Really enjoyed it. It felt very traditional Doctor Who. It felt quite out there sci-fi, current sci-fi. So yeah, I did enjoy it a lot. But I think, from watching last week's one, I really didn't like them straight away after viewing them. This was a bit of a relief. It did feel very traditional Doctor Who, I have to say, in that sense. Exactly like John said, very confined, a bit cheap. And not cheap, but it just looked, it wasn't as good as a real Quarry.
You said sheep. You said sheep.
Sheep. I know I did, yeah. But like Suky, there are some things I didn't like about this. So this is a long way from perfect. In fact, this was a pretty typical Moffat script for me. And I have issues with Moffat scripts. So time to go deep. And I'm coming straight back to you, Bob, because you have intrigued me about why he's not the Doctor.
Right. So it's been annoying me because I watched it at midnight again. And I should have loved it. No, I should have really liked it because it was traditional Doctor Who, particularly Moffat era, which I very much enjoy. But going back through all the Doctors in and obviously I'm 44, nearly 45, and I've loved Doctor Who since I was very young. Them as people off screen, when I saw Matt Smith in his first interview, I was like, he's the Doctor. Jodie, brilliant. I love her personality. Capaldi, think he's great. All of the Doctors, when they're not being the Doctor, are just an amazing, amazing people, amazing characters. Whereas Shooty, to me, he has apart from his clothing style, he's very stylish. He doesn't really have a personality. And I think that reflects in him as a Doctor. But I don't think that's just him. I think that's celebrity in general now. It's a very bland thing. And that's why we get these celebrities that are all style, no substance. So I'm not saying he's a bad actor because I think he's a good actor. But I just think he is a bland person apart from his clothes. You know what I mean? I think he's just a typical celebrity nowadays, how they are.
Okay, Bob, what you're saying there? Sorry, I just want to jump in. I feel the same thing actually, in that I think all the other Doctors have brought their own personality to the role, and they've sort of embodied their own way they naturally are in the way they are naturally in the real world. But the way Shooty's bringing it, I think he's been an actor trying to play a role, and I thought that in the first 2 episodes, and a little bit more, not that much more, not that much in this episode, but I have done in the previous 2. But this time he was slightly better in the way he sort of tries to embody the Doctor.
It's like he's saying the words, but I think there's that reflection of his personality, which I'm not really into. Like him as a person off screen in interviews and that, I think it's like, like football players, they get media trained, don't they? And you get the odd one that's a character. Whereas, like, I think all the Doctors previously have been from an era or age, even Jodie, that were just cool. They were just cool. They didn't really have this, like, they would have had some media training, if you like, but they had this natural thing. Whereas, I'm not saying it's media training, whatever it is with him, I just find him quite a bland person, apart from his very stylish. Look at me, I'm wearing comedy clothes, not really not stylish clothes.
Can I make a comment? What a crock of bullshit. It's an
What are you
actor
talking
playing a
about?
fucking character.
But I don't
All
believe he's the
actors are
Doctor.
playing. That's the most bullshit thing I've ever heard.
No. Why? Well,
It's
no,
because
that's
you don't
why-
like the way he's playing it. It's not mean he's not the Doctor. It just means the Doctor has changed.
No, I mean,
Get
I'm
behind
saying
it
that-
because it
I'm
is what it is.
No, I'm saying I like all the Doctors off screen. I think they've got great personalities. I think
Off
they're all
screen, they're not
funny,
on Doctor Who
amazing.
for. I don't
No,
give
but
a
I
shit.
do. I love all
that's
the extra
you.
stuff.
But
I
that
love all the
doesn't mean
extra
that that's your own personal opinion on it, though, isn't
You
it?
see,
It is, but
I'm just going to come in on that one there as well, Bob, because I think far from it in being a bland person. I mean, I've seen him being interviewed. I've seen him on Sex Education. I actually find him, if anything, too over the top. I find him so outrageous and so loud and so camp and so, well, he uses the word queer. So very, very politically gay. That's how he describes himself, and different. I actually think, if anything, he's having to control his own character into this part so that he doesn't come across as too bombastic in the part. I would never have described Ncuti Gatwa as a character, an actor, a person that was bland.
When I say bland, I mean this generic celebrity thing that I.
Well,
That's not, is it? He's been
that's
reined
not
in
the case,
once
though,
or
is
twice
it?
by Russell T Davies for swearing and all kinds of things.
My opinion is I'm not saying he's just a monotone bland person. He's got all the whatever, but I find
You don't
that
like
quite,
him as a person, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think that I don't.
Well, you don't know him as a
dislike him.
person. How often
Yeah,
have you
you
No,
don't know him as a
no,
person.
but
You know the
I'm
celebrity.
saying the way
We
the
only
way he
see-
comes across.
We
can
only see
yeah.
we only see what he portrays out
Exactly, yeah.
in the interviews, and I
Likewise,
see
the
him as
same for
quite
Tennant, the
fun.
same for every one of them as well.
Yeah.
They're all playing a fucking role, and
and
their
they're
role
all-
is their celebrity.
And what I mean in interviews, I love their interviews. I find them
Yeah, but
fascinating.
That's
I find his not fascinating in the slightest. I find him a very boring individual.
I've never
Really
looked at
boring.
anything. I've never looked at anything outside of Doctor Who about him because it's not about that. It's about what he does on the screen. It's about the role
Yeah, but
that's been created and written for him.
I've been. This is my thoughts of why I'm not seeing the Doctor in him. The scripts are for the Doctor, but he is. I don't know. I just don't. He's I don't. I hope it changes, but I'm.
Cliff.
But yeah.
What do you think, Cliff?
Oh, I think he's trying. He's got so much on his plate. If you think about it as a personal way, he goes home. He's playing the first Black Doctor. Well, apart from the Lady Black Doctor, it's the first season. It's the first season that's launched more countries all over the place.
Yeah.
He's sticking really hard to that script. And like you said, I've seen him on other things and he's quite flamboyant. But I have to admit as well, Bob said, I've seen him on interviews and he's quite quiet about things, but I think that's just he really doesn't want to give a lot away. He hasn't got the starmanship yet that he can just say what he wants and get away with it. He's obviously a young actor as well. He wants to do what's best for himself.
32. He's getting in there. It's not.
I know, but at this point, he knows that if he does this right, it can launch him bigger and bigger, like all the others will have come and gone. But I think, in my eyes, I think he's cracked it. He's done a different Doctor from all the rest. He's spun it off.
Yeah, I think that I'd agree. That's what I like about him. I can understand what you're saying, that it does feel like they're all playing a part, exactly like John said. That's totally true. But it kind of feels to me like he's controlling it a little bit more. And I think he's distinctly different from the other Doctor. If you think about everyone else's first season, right from Tom Baker through to Sylvester McCoy, the characters changed such a lot. Look at Jodie in the first season compared to her last one.
No.
And
this is sorry to interrupt, Chris. It's not me saying I don't like him. Blah blah blah. I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to rack my brain why I'm not seeing the Doctor. And I think that's shown up in a proper Doctor Who story. That's shown up even more. Like I said before, when you're doing the daft stuff like we've had the last three, it's a lot of fun and I've loved it. I've really enjoyed. Like there's been moments where he takes me out of it from being the Doctor, but I get it. I get the refreshed version of Doctor Who. But when you try and do Doctor Who again, and you've got this guy that I don't see being the Doctor, that's when I start going, oh, yeah.
Right.
It's highlighted more.
Yeah. What about Millie then as a companion? How are we finding Ruby?
Brilliant.
Oh well, she annoyed me in this one on first watch. I thought she'd suddenly got that smug cockiness which Rose and Clara got in season 2 immediately. But then on rewatch, and I think this applies to Shooty as well, I saw a lot more of the Doctor kind of in him on second watch, really looking for it. And with her, there was this like, she must have been travelling with him for longer than we've seen or something to.
There's meant to be a month, isn't there, or something? Yeah, there's meant to be about a month in between here.
She's more confident with him and
Well,
stuff.
don't seem to be a month because if you remember, the first few episodes was set at Christmas, and then when he comes, where do you want to go in this episode? I think he says, or one after, one before. She was saying June. What time of the year it is? It's June, so that's like 6 months.
6 months. That's a hell of a long time not to go to the first planet, but it's. Yeah. I must admit with you, Bob, this felt to me like she was actually that Ruby was Amy Pond or Clara, very much Clara. It just screamed Clara, and I couldn't work out if that was because it was Moffat or her acting style or the lines were obvious. I couldn't work that one out. Go on, Cliff.
I've got an idea for this. Cliff's theory. You know, they usually write.
Right? Am they really?
Yeah, you're always right. So I'm thinking this was a story which Stephen Moffat had it from some time ago, which explains to me why the companion was so pally already. And plus, a lot of the things in it didn't really have to spill over from anything. It could just be pigeon-toed anywhere. He's obviously had some stuff from RTD to say put this, and he's put that in. But really, you could have hit, like Bob said, anyone in this and any companion that just fitted it in.
Yeah, you're right.
I think what I love about it is the arrogance and confidence of someone that's ran Doctor Who coming back to write a script. He's just gone, I'm going to stick him on a landmine for 50 minutes, and I'm a really clever and great writer, and this is what I'm going to do. And it's Moffat. He pulled it off, but he has that arrogance and that kind of self-belief and that ability to do something like that.
Well, just on that point, I mean, he's actually been given executive producer credit on this episode, so that's how much confidence Russell T Davies had on this episode. He's gone. I can leave you with this episode to write it and start it all over again. Going back to Millie, I'm not sure. There's some aspects of her which I find a bit annoying. Again, I think, as some of you said, it's a Clara thing where she does seem to be quite confident in what she's doing, yet she's not, I don't think, a fully formed character. She just seems to bounce off whatever is happening on screen and against the Doctor. And I need to see more of that. And I think we'll probably see a little bit more of that.
Isn't that just the job of a companion, is it?
Yeah, but I think we'll see more of her in next week's episode, because next week's episode is one of these ones that was recorded again without Shooty being available, because I think he was filming other things right at the same sort of time. So there's a couple of episodes where Millie Gibson had to do most of the legwork herself.
I think he was finishing off Sex Education, wasn't he? Because there's lots of rumours about her being on her own such a lot, and I did think at the time. So yeah, I think he was absent.
Cool. Yeah.
John.
Cool.
You're not looking so sure. Hello, darling. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you doing? What's up? How's Whitby these days?
Whitby's absolutely gorgeous. I'm having a booming time.
That's great. How are you feeling? Are you good?
I am so good. You know, I'm feeling so much better than last week when we came on this podcast because I've got more positive things to say. So I'm feeling quite all right about it. Did you enjoy the football over the weekend?
It was fine. Yeah, I don't.
You know about football, Craig?
I do. I know that Man City were up against.
What are we talking about Man City for?
Because he's a non-footballing, non-numpty.
My family all support Man City, so I had to. I said I was watching it, but in all honesty, because he won't listen to this, I just had the score open on Google. Anyway, John, what are you thinking about all this, darling? What do you think of Millie? Has she got Sarah Jane's calves?
She's got her legs, definitely got legs, but I'm just I'm apathetic about her in general. She does feel like a lot of them mixed together.
Yeah.
But then again, all the companions do. There'll be some episode where something will spring out and it'll make it different. But until that time, we get what we're given. Same with Shooty, as far as I'm concerned. He's doing a decent job as he's just playing the Doctor Who, and the Doctor is a different character than the last ones, and so I'm just accepting that. So yeah, I think that's the way to do it for me. But
Oh
yeah.
I keep.
No, I'm just saying
just-
that's how I deal with it. I'm not like saying that you're wrong. That's how you feel is how you feel. But I just it makes it easier for me. I don't feel that because I think 90% of this is that I don't really give a shit enough about Doctor Who to lose my shit over something like that. Because I mean, in the end, it's just a TV show, isn't it?
I'd like to point out that a different Buffo from many years ago would have lost his shit. I'm not losing my shit, John.
No, you're not losing shit.
Right.
But I could. Talking of companions, by the way,
Yes.
we have a season 2 companion in this.
We did indeed. Yes, we did. We have Monday.
Monday.
What did we think to her? I thought she was good, to be honest. I liked her.
I thought she was very good. Yeah, I did. I think she was great.
Who are we talking? What are you talking about? Companion?
The Anglican bishop.
What are you talking about? Companion?
She's next year's companion.
Oh right.
They've already brought her in. We don't quite know how it's going to work.
I didn't like her. I didn't like the way she dressed and looked.
The wig.
Oh, I quite
the wig.
I didn't know that was a wig. I liked it.
How much she looks like she trying to be Rambo or something, and it just looks a little bit absurd on a woman of that sort of stature.
I've actually seen the actress in other production. I mean, she was in Andor, but I remember her way back in Strike Back. And if you remember that sort of show, that was just SAS guys being sent in, and she's one of these soldiers.
Watch the same shit that you watch.
I know, but Strike Back was great. It was just testosterone.
She's very good.
Yeah.
She's great in Andor as well.
But what's she like as a person outside? Does she interview well enough to be?
Do you know what, John? Do you know what, John? She actually does.
You're
she
good.
was in Unleashed.
I mean, you say that, but it's still daft that that's an issue.
It's not. It's
right.
It's an
overreaction.
Mandip Gill.
It's an overreaction.
I always say this about Yaz. Yaz, like Mandip Gill, is such a lovely and awesome person off screen in the interview. So smiley, bubbly, amazing. But she didn't bring that to Yaz, and Yaz was a bit miserable. She'd have injected some of her personality in that.
That was the character act she was on.
Did say that.
Yeah, but that's down to her Chibnall. That is, if it had written in more bubbly and stuff, then she probably would have been.
But that's because that's the character she's playing. Like John said, that's not what Chibnall wanted Yaz to be like. So she just played what was given to her. And we've got Suky, who I think I'm quite surprised. I still think he's a really different Doctor. Yes, he's energetic, he's lively, he's expressive, he sings. We've never had that before.
He's very emotional.
I quite like this Doctor persona.
Pushes out a tear a lot.
Yeah,
there's
so many ways you can take it.
Well, that's what we've seen since day one. He's like the raw emotion plucked out of the Doctor into in that by generation, and he's like,
I think
much more in touch with that side of himself.
I think by the end of this season, I'll reflect on it and get it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm not going to say this again
because he's a great actor. He's a great actor. He's and all that kind of things. I'm saying whatever. He's got this generic media training which people have off screen, and like John and whatever is right. That I shouldn't be looking at that. I should see looking at what he's doing on screen. I'm not quite seeing a Doctor because it's a very different Doctor. But I think at the end of this, I'll come back and it'll all make sense. It's just where I'm at the moment. That's all.
This is the third time I've been here now, Bob, because just pulling history up, I seem to remember saying the same thing about both Capaldi and Whittaker in their first seasons.
No. I loved Capaldi from day one.
Did you really?
I absolutely. If you go back and listen to the old Doctor Who tapes,
right?
Capaldi was a great Doctor.
And he did love Jodie from
day one. It was another house. It was another house that had an issue with.
Oh, I do remember that. Oh, so I take it back, Bob. I thought you didn't like Jodie.
No, and it wasn't Jodie went off. It was the way things ended up in the first season when we were reviewing it. Non-reflection, I love it all now.
I don't want to bring up shit that you said in the past. Bob, but you did say some shit that wouldn't get otherwise.
Right, I want to bring something that's really annoying me, and I don't want to be Mr. Negative because I really did enjoy this story, but I kind of feeling that.
All right, Bob's got that covered.
Yeah, it's kind of the way the kind of the feel of the podcast has taken me, rather than being positive and being negative. I must admit, I'm a bit sick of the snow and that last scene with the snowflake drifting when the TARDIS went. was just a bit much. It was
Yeah,
very
but
much
that-
Clara and the Leaf.
That's the whole
Yeah,
bloody
but
story.
that's-
That's the
that's
whole.
the-
That's the
yeah,
story.
that's the
arc.
bad
It's
It's not
wolf
a
of this one.
sledgehammer. It's like too much. It's like
Yeah,
I
it
don't.
happens,
I
happens
don't
all
mind
the time,
it.
like yeah.
Oh,
It does
like-
happen a lot, but
But
you
it
got
only
to
happens
some-
where
How
it only
does it
happens
happen a lot?
where the companion's in a serious bit of strife. That's all.
Not that last scene though. It was like I don't know which one was it where Clara, the Leaf follows Clara at the bus stop. Oh God, was it the Rings of Akatar or something like that?
Yeah, I think
And yeah, that last scene with the snowflake, it was like, no, that is just way too much now. Like we don't need it knocking into our heads.
Yeah,
I
because we've been watching Doctor Who from time, haven't we? They're writing it in a way of you've never seen Bad Wolf before, you've never seen Clara before, you've never seen that Leaf stuff before. So
Yeah, but I
to
saw the
everyone
episode
else,
20
it's
minutes
like,
before when the snow was falling and it stopped. So I was not that thick that I couldn't remember 20 minutes before.
No, I know. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
but it
that.
was
I'm
a-
just saying, like,
What
it
is happening
has
today?
to see.
What is
it.
happening?
I thought it was good. The only thing that took me out was a bit jarring was that poor guy, which Monday Woman liked. He's
Cadfael.
He's trying to hack into the ambulance thing, and he's getting really hard. He's getting well into it.
Oh,
And she
was
goes,
it?
Do you like me? Oh yeah, I like you.
yeah,
I
that
thought,
was-
"We got
yeah.
something
Yeah,
to
but
fucking
she's
do
just
there,
she's just a
dickhead."
dumb soldier, isn't she? So
You
and also, and without wanting to be critical, Anglicans, fucking hell.
Can I just say we're a fully embracing podcast? Yeah, and I must admit, there's a couple of scenes in this that really jarred with me, and I would agree with you on Cliff. That kind of felt really juvenile,
That
of
was
like
just like you got something to
11-year-olds
do,
in
get it
school.
done.
Yeah, my
Think
friend
about that
fancies
later.
you.
I also
Yeah.
think Moffat is using this as I've got a sandbox and I want to talk about the shit I don't like. I
No,
don't
that's
like-
Doctor Who always
or-
does that. And
Yeah,
it's-
but
it
I know
always
that,
gets
yeah, I know that.
criticised, and it always
But-
gets said, "Oh, it's like sledgehammer," but it's not.
No, but this time this time it looked like what he would have spread out over a series. He banged it all in one. You got religion, you got selling arms, you've got the NHS, you've got the problems with going to war with the different. With the actual self, you're going to war with your brother.
You're going to war.
the
You're going to war
faith. He questions the faith.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you believe the faith, but you're asking me for proof.
was
So I
gonna
thought
say,
that's something he would have spread out.
I would like to speak about the story in the script, which I thought was
Yeah,
excellent.
we've not talked about that yet.
Like Cliff just said, summed it up really well there. You had all these elements in there, and I love the twist at the end or whatever. Sally Twist, who is the ambulance
Yes.
this time. And I thought it was such a great
Susan
idea.
Twist.
Susan Twist. Sorry, you're not going to be, and it's got the a Moffat catchphrase in like sharp scratch and all that kind of stuff. And
Yes.
it's
Thoughts
just
and prayers.
Awesome.
yeah, thoughts and prayers, and all that, and the fleshy tube as well to weigh it down. He's got to touch his fleshy tube. Then she comes looking for her dad, and he pops out of as a AI hologram. It's all like, wow, this is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I agree with that because when it first started and like the Doctor stood on the landmine, there was a part of me thought, oh God, it's not just a landmine story, is it? As in, 'cause I didn't have a clue where it was going.
No,
But like you said, it was like it felt really contemporary sci-fi with the AI and algorithms and all that type of stuff. It felt really a bit on trend, and I'm not really the person to say that because I don't really know what on trend is. But to me, it felt like a proper cutting-edge sci-fi story. It felt fresh.
No, it was great. Thematically, all the stories, a little bits in there, and little Easter eggs as well that Moffat puts in.
Yeah.
It was a great script, and like I say, it was written by a very confident man. Going, I can stick him on a landmine to make something really good, and he did, and thought provoking and all them kind of things. So, hats off for the script and the production. I've got into Doctor Who Unleashed. I really
not
like
seen
the
that
guy.
yet.
I'm not
the
seen
guy
it
that-
yet. It's
Steph-
sexy,
What's he
isn't
called?
it?
Stephen Powell.
Stephen
Stephen
Powell. He's great. I love Stephen Powell. He's great. But yeah, the Unleashed stuff, I like watching that and then watching it again. I'm a big fan of the behind the scenes.
Has
stuff,
anybody
but-
seen
I love
the
all that.
commentary yet?
No, I'm
What's-
not. I've
I
watched
haven't seen the
one-
commentary
one-
yet. There's a video commentary with Moffat, Russell T Davies, and Joel Collins, who's one of the other.
Joel
one of the
Collins.
producers. Yeah, one of the
What's he doing
producers.
on it?
She's just married Russell and Stephen at the same time. Where's
didn't
this
know.
round, Suky?
It's on iPlayer. If you
Okay.
you remember that Russell T Davies did commentaries for a couple of the Christmas specials
Yeah.
and David
Yes.
Tennant stuffs. With Millie Gibson and David Tennant and stuff like that.
Is
well,
it in the
this-
Whovians
this-
section?
Yeah, in the Whovians section.
Okay.
So check that out because there's a couple of tidbits of information apparently on there. I mean, I haven't seen it myself, but it has
Titbits was that?
tidbits.
He said
Titbits, he said.
Tidbits. Like
There's some
carry on
booby
camping.
bits out there.
That's Craig's job.
The
tidbits?
thing I thought the child actress, the one that plays Splice, was slightly
Was about
miscast.
30 years old.
Yeah, I
she
think
should have been. It
miscast.
should have been about 4. They
Yeah.
made her actual.
Especially when
response
she
in it.
says
No,
Daddy.
because that would have been the whole continuation of the baby thing, and already the fact episode.
No,
one.
Yeah, but no,
and sorry.
it
just,
should have been
it's
about. Sorry, John. It should have been about 7 or 8. Then it would have the dialogue would have been sort of okay for that sort of actress, but because the actress seemed to be about 12, 13, I think she just was too old for that character.
I
And
think
I
I
think
just
they
think
just
the
miscast it.
dialogue he did was
Sorry, John.
incorrect for the character. He could have worked it or reworked it because she was saying things like "Daddy, where's me daddy?" and all.
Yeah.
That. It's like, oh, come on.
Well,
Don't
Prince
say
Charles
that.
still called the Queen mummy when she was like 90.
Because he's a dick.
Because he's
Sorry,
a
just had
posh
to throw
fuck.
that in. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're inclusive, though, aren't we, guys? Yeah.
We're really feeling a positive vibe tonight. I'm sorry, dear listeners. I would like to remind you all that we did start off very positive on this, and
but
then
it
we
is
kind
a
of went
posi-
down a rabbit hole.
It is a positive episode. It's in that it was exciting and it was tense.
He was tense.
And it was the resolution was great in that the Doctor managed to convince an AI to solve the problem for him, and then just that way it then resolved everything. But the fact that it went from a small little situation in a quarry with the Doctor on a landmine to be able to resolve a whole war within like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, half an hour. And then he stopped and managed to stop a whole war. The thing also, the other thing that I wanted to say was the Custarians. How the hell did they not know that they were fighting?
Faith.
Well,
They're on, nobody. Faith. Faith will only get you so far. If there's no proof that you're fighting anybody out there.
But that's faith.
I think that was the whole point of it, was to say that people who are just blindly following things aren't really
especially
that clever.
on social media as well, wasn't it? All the algorithms.
Yes.
If you think about the algorithms that we all
Yeah.
tune into, I only see political things that I agree with, really, because the algorithms have picked up what I like.
It's all MAGA stuff for you, is it? Yeah.
Mostly just leather harnesses, to be honest.
That was the clever part of the script. Was it's like we will follow.
Yeah, it's to follow
what we're told. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
But that's a soldier's job anyway. A soldier will follow orders, but half the time they will still question what they're doing, especially if they've got no proof of who they're actually
This is
fighting.
quite strict.
Hey, did you not listen to the script? Did you not listen to the actual thing, Suky? They explained it, innit? They just
Explain
convinced
to me
them.
then, because that way,
They
obviously
convinced
Convinced
them
them
that they were living in the mud or in the smoke, or one of the two.
Yeah.
And remember, it's sci-fi, so they're allowed to not be humans.
Well, I quite like the reference to the mud, because obviously he talks about sentient mud reference and he's met lovely girls, which was the Witchfinder, wasn't it? Because he met the mud girls there. I quite like that. I thought it was very. There seems to be lots of links back to Chibnall's era, actually.
Yeah, because it was a great era. I don't care what anyone says.
It was
great.
It was one of the best eras of Doctor Who ever to me.
Absolutely was. I was going to say as well, what I liked at the end, and I'm going to give a bit of a hats off to the script and Shooter, was the fact that when they mentioned the Doctor doesn't like faith, but what he doesn't like is blind faith that people follow like they did.
Yeah.
What he does like is hope and faith from that point of view. So have some faith for good, not faith for just blindly fucking following into a war.
Also be individual. It did remind me of a classic 80s film, and some of the bottom actors, I think Aid Edmondson was in it, and they get told of all this group of SES to run into this place and kill whoever's there. And one or two walk out and it goes, what happened? 11 of the guys died. Any of them didn't see him. And I just thought, that is it. Because people will take the orders and go in, and they end up getting friendly fired, and then you've got the drones what are killing people, you've got those ambulances, but they won't give you really a shit, and they'll just take you out. So you
thought
can
those-
understand how they would to keep blindly going
Yeah.
forward.
because they've been told it, and that's what they believe to be the correct. So they're rationalised. It's that kind of faith thing, isn't it?
It's the
It's
narrative
science.
of the BBC. People just
Yeah.
following the bastards on everything.
I've just read a book about a bunch
Fucking hell, here he goes again with the book.
Yeah,
Shush,
come
John.
on, come on,
This is
Sheps.
library. Well, I've just read a book of a bunch of people being told to stay in a hotel, and they can't move any. And within a few hours, they've all killed each other because they just can't. They just got nothing else to go on, and they just decided to kill themselves. And they or not kill themselves, kill each other, I should say. And so this is something.
Can I just carry on with that and say that there are many books available out there, as Suky's just proved, but we would highly recommend to you both Blue Hills and Mancunians, which are written by our co-host Cliff Shepherd, an exceptionally great read.
Clifford Shepherd.
Clifford Shepherd, who can be found on Amazon, and he can be found on many social media things, because I actually understand what these are. But yes, highly good reads.
I've not read
you
the
can see
latest one, Shep, yet.
You can see his cheeky little face. He's dead happy. But what about the page number issue? I mean, what's that about?
I'm sure he's got that resolved by now.
I've put it in Amazon. It's changing.
And if you
I had to pay for that change, 20 quid it cost me, the bastard.
You should have got it right in the first place, Cliff.
That's the cocaine speaking shit.
It's hard enough fucking putting words together, let alone numbers.
That's sheer camp arrogant.
Can I just say as well that it is very nice. We're slightly digressing here, but at the back of Mancunians, we do have a dedication to us all from Cliff for keeping on the straight and narrow, which I've never been accused of keeping anyone
we
straight.
should as well. We've done loads to help him with that book.
Anyway, back to Doctor Who.
I'm glad he's put that dedication, because we never received it in the other book, you know.
John did. Yeah, John did.
Apart from John, the rest of us,
John did.
no, they bothered with the rest of us.
Yeah, fucking John. Anyway,
it's a good job. It's a good job. We've witched about this previously, and he's just done it this time.
You got the money, Sheps, yeah?
Yeah,
right. Back to Doctor Who. Yeah. So again, can we come back to the very end, because I found the end really cheesy.
Yeah, I did.
I like to come to an end. But it was like the waving, and I know
Star
it was meant to.
Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
But it was also the symbolism of him there, but not there, because it was a distant. But I just thought the way they stood in the TARDIS looking out. We've had this before last week, didn't we, about addressing a fourth wall or whatever it is. What did we think? I didn't like it personally.
I didn't have a problem with that part. The only problem I had was the actual set, which looked like it was a really bad matte painting from like 1936.
It was.
Yeah, so
They didn't even have any stars
or
anything.
Am I the only one that actually liked that actual visual thing?
No, I liked it a lot.
With the TARDIS and them standing there, and the actual background. I thought that was.
Visual. The whole visual was good, but you could tell that it was like a matte painting. It looked CGI'd.
It did,
obviously.
But I the art element of it, like you could put on a poster on your wall and it looked awesome.
It looked like it was a poster on the wall.
Can I caveat that slightly, because like the science of it all, and I hate to get all picky about this shit.
Oh, God.
But if there was planets and things up there that size, there's no fucking way on earth that planet isn't just a molten ball of rock.
Yeah.
So just stop putting massive
John,
fucking planets right next
John,
to them.
I think you'll find there's residual energy.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah.
You get away with fucking anything. Energy.
That's a reference to last week, listen, if you didn't listen to last week.
Everything residual energy.
I would just take out the last 2 minutes pretty much completely if it were me. I would press pause, and I like the talk about the faith, but it felt clunky, and it felt cheap, and it felt, I hate to say it.
Felt Stephen Moffat, didn't it?
Yeah, it felt Stephen Moffat. I felt no emotion. I know the music was telling me I was meant to, but again, I don't think Stephen Moffat has ever pulled an emotion out of me in my life.
Yeah, but that's because you're a well-known sociopath, though.
Yeah, you're just a hard ass.
Now my ass is perky, but I've never heard it called hard before. Anyway,
did you? So you all liked it? Block. What?
Things bounce right off it.
I just thought at the end as well, that girl's dad has died. And she's just like,
no, but that's the whole point of the faith thing. That's what the good thing is about.
Yeah, but if this faith, how
it works for people. It works for people. That's why it's there. That's why the problem.
And she got
I-
left with his
it might-
dildo, and that was it. It was-
Yeah.
No, but if it works for people,
Well, she
yeah,
did.
okay. But the thing is, right, he's died, yet she's still going to be living with a hologram AI version.
Yeah, well,
of him.
she'll always,
Yeah.
she'll always,
Right,
she'll
so
always,
he's
he'll always
Different
be inside
cultures,
her.
Sucky. Different cultures. That's what
You
they,
can't
that's what
believe
they
women for
expect.
that long because Mondi's coming to us next year, isn't she? So she's not going to be raised her that well. That's all I'm thinking.
I think
Well,
I've broken
yeah.
Sucky with that. He's had enough.
He's off.
He's off.
He's
He's
off.
off.
Doesn't like criticism, does he?
Whoa, he's
Doesn't
gone.
like
No,
that.
John. What have you
He's
done?
Where's he
Suki
gone?
has left the room, probably to be fair, for a toilet break or something. But
Well, he's
Well,
getting
he's
old, isn't he?
Yeah.
Anyway,
He's
fuck
still
that guy.
he's still got the receipt thing on his
Yeah.
chair.
The fire retardant tag.
We've
Right,
all got
smoke.
we've all got the
Anyway.
fire retardant tag on our chairs because none
Because
of
that's
us
what
give
makes
a
it
shit.
work.
you can't pass them on to
Fake.
charity shops
It
if
would
you remove
set
them.
on
anyway.
fire immediately the instant you take that off because that's just the way
Yeah.
of the world.
What about
Anyway,
the
anyway,
musical score? How we feel about the musical score? Because we
I
often
bet-
talk
I
about
bet
it being
OT
oppressive.
It made no impact on me whatsoever. I
It
didn't
made
even
no
notice
impact on me
it.
whatsoever either. Yeah, me. So
I
I'm
just thought
exactly
at
the
the
same.
end. I thought at the end it just went a bit like too much.
What, it turned into Chewbacca?
Yeah.
Chewbacca.
Or a dying seal.
Oh,
Okay,
Anyway,
one final question.
Yeah.
Quarry, a real quarry or the fake quarry?
it's a
Which
fake
should we
quarry.
pick? No, I know it's a fake
CGI.
quarry in here, but which do you prefer?
But which do you
Oh.
prefer?
Oh,
Okay.
real quarry.
They've
But
done
old
some
school.
good stuff with.
Because this
they've done
costs a
some
lot of
great
money,
stuff.
a hell of a lot more than a real quarry.
Well,
That's
it's the
honest.
weather. It's the weather element, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
You can get-
lighting, it's weather, it's
Yeah.
consistency of filming. You can't
Yeah.
just do it outside because it'll look as shit as the stuff in the 70s used to.
It doesn't look shit though, John. It looks like an alien planet.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's what I mean. That's why they couldn't just go into a
No, it
quarry and
does.
do it. Yeah.
I mean,
But-
the
but
quarry in Doctor
The
Who is
70s, you see,
incredible.
yeah, I know. The quarry, having John Pertwee running around a quarry isn't
It's
quite
amazing.
as immersive as having a studio with decent setting. But
It's good when Sarah Jane's running around the quarry.
It wasn't that long ago, like
No,
Utopia
but
totally a quarry.
I was going to
pretty
say, modern Doctor Who quarries are amazing because they do the CGI bit, whatever behind them to create whatever else. So there's been a lot of good CGI backing of a quarry
much.
environment, but it's probably just as. I mean, it's maybe more expensive, but from the point of view, is in you don't have to stop filming. You're in control of your environment. That's going to save you some money from having to do all these retakes because of rain and whatever else. So there's probably benefits to doing it.
At this point,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
thinking
pretty
it
good.
might be time for our 2 words and final summaries. And is there anything else, any other issues people want to bring up just to discuss before we move on to the final 2 words?
Oh, just one.
Yeah,
is
go for it,
I've not seen the list of who's writing the next. Is Moffat back again, or is this
Yeah.
No,
just
it's
the
Christmas
other one?
special.
Oh, he's doing a
but it's
Christmas special.
Yeah.
Russell T Davis all the way. I
No,
think
there's
it is,
one
isn't
other one, isn't there? With 2 people writing it, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah,
it?
one of the showrunners from Loki, Karen Briney, and
Give me 2 secs.
one of her writing partners.
That's a bit midway into it, isn't it? It's quite a way off yet.
Why? How many episodes have we got?
8. There's only
8.
8 in total.
I think that's
Well,
the
halfway
6th
through next
episode.
week. Yeah.
6th episode is somebody else. All the others are all, Russell T Davies. I don't know if you mentioned it because I just had to step away from the podcast. But the urn, when he how did he recognise it was an urn? It looked like a tube. It didn't not look like anything that resembled an urn.
she
And
told
when
him it was.
Yeah.
No, but she did. She
She
just
did.
picked
She
something
caught. She
up.
said,
No,
"I've got this urn."
Yeah, but even she must know it didn't look like an urn.
Yeah, but she
It
read
must
the
look
thing
like
on
a
Yeah,
it.
but she
tube.
just know it's a compressed human in a fleshy dildo, did she?
It had an
Yeah.
eye in it. You couldn't miss the eye, could you? That was like.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but
why
she-
call it an urn?
Doctor Who, Sucky, what are you talking about? I've seen some
Jesus,
shitty
Sucky.
monsters.
It might be shitty
and
monsters.
also the residual energy of the
Yeah,
time
yeah.
maker.
You've got to remember that residual energy.
So just coming on to what Suki said before, Dot and Bubble is the Rogue is the episode written by Katie Heron and Bryony Redman, which is
That's
episode
it.
6 of this current series.
Bryony
Based
Redman?
on- Yeah, I think indeed.
Oh, I'm a fan of her. She's really
What's
good.
she done like?
What's she doing?
Questing time. She did D&D with some comedians. She's
all right,
one of
cool.
the D&D. She's great at improv.
Oh wow.
So yeah, Bryony Redman is on it, and she's really good. I like
That'll
her.
be a
Oh, cool.
fun one.
Is she writing it or yeah?
And
Yeah.
she's written it, co-written it, yeah.
She's not in it though, is she?
No, she's not in it, Dan, not as far as I know. Okay, right. So I'm going to go round the console and do 2 words just to make everyone's life easier. I'm going to start off with Suky because any remaining issues will be covered by him in the next few minutes.
I
And
think,
then we can just take it.
Does anyone else have got the feeling Craig's got to get off?
No, I
Got that
don't have to
feeling,
get
he's
off
got
at
that
all,
vibe,
but I
hasn't
thought we'd kind of, I don't have to go anywhere.
Oh, get Suky out the way, then we can all just leave while he's
So we
talking.
just sit back now. We've got
Yeah,
a
that's
couple
it.
of-
Yeah, that could
For
be-
new
What-
listeners, Suky is our font of knowledge. He used to
There's
find
not-
everything
there's-
on commentaries.
I might just turn
There's
around
no-
and just give you my
yeah.
2 words and walk away.
Don't
just
do
did.
that, honey. Because right,
I had
so
to. Somebody
Suky-
knocking on the door.
Oh.
There's something about Monday asking for proof. How was she asking somebody who's stuck on a mine for proof? How is he going to be able to prove anything? So that was one of the things. The Monday as a character will not be back because Russell's already put it out that the actress will be back, but the character of Monday will not be.
Oh, I didn't
You-
know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's
It's
gonna
Oh,
be
I
the
assumed it was the
my
same
head.
character.
Whether he's lying or not, I
Right,
don't
okay.
know. But I think from what I've it's been put down because she filmed this 9 months, 10 months before she was actually announced as the new companion. So she must have done this like Freema Agyeman and Martha and her cousin, or Karen
Of
Gillan,
course,
and then
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
or even if you want to go back to Lila Ward and Mary Tam, where they just
Yeah.
decided she looked really good in the role and decided to bring them back the following story.
I
or the
hope he
following
makes
season.
some kind of reference to it, like something like that.
I'd be disappointed. I
always
quite
just
like the
ignore
idea
it.
of the Anglican bishop being a companion, I must admit. I thought that's going to be
I was
interesting.
going to say,
angle.
I like the fact she's called Monday and she's like Anglican bishop and all that kind of stuff. So
And,
I'm
she-
into
and
that.
she's off-wildy. She's not had enough wildy.
Yeah,
companion.
Yeah,
it's
it-
an old human. Yeah,
That felt nice and fresh, but okay, so it's not with the same character, which is a bit of a disappointment, but time will tell what's going to happen.
The fact that not the fact that the Susan Twist is now actually being seen by the Doctor. The actress has
Yeah.
been seen by the Doctor, whereas all the other previous times that the actress has appeared in the previous episode, she's
not seen her,
always
yeah.
been with
the
either
background,
somebody else or in the background.
It's such a cool thing that we picked up it last week. We didn't say it on the podcast. We talked about it after.
I
we did it,
mean,
which is
I've got to be
so
honest,
great.
I didn't notice.
I didn't notice it.
I
until
have
we
no
talked
idea who
about
you're talking about. I don't remember any
well, this
any other ones as well.
actress Susan Twist, she's been in I
Yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
when she was the murder.
It's been in the media now, hasn't it? It's been picked up on
She was,
quite
the,
a bit.
Yeah,
she
and
was
whereas-
the tea lady, wasn't she? In
Yeah,
the,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but I didn't recognise her as the
And
same woman.
the most annoying thing is when we finished the podcast last week, we're like, oh yeah, and Susan Twist. And we did the whole thing before everyone else jumped
She's
on
a
it.
toy
We
maker.
should-
I think she's a toy maker. Follow
I
her.
Well,
wonder-
we should, yeah.
Is she Susan? Because that's something else, isn't it? Of course, there's
Oh,
been quite a
yeah.
lot
They
of
think that woman next door is Susan, don't they?
yeah.
There's a lot.
Anita, Mrs. Flood. Because
Yeah.
there's been a lot of references to dad in this, to the whole dad to dad conversation.
Yes.
And we had Susan's living over there with me, my granddaughter. There's a lot of that coming out in this series. There's been no doctor that's mentioned his family
Yeah,
lineage
I
as
think-
much as this.
I think that's something as well because they've touched on it before being a father very briefly in conversation, but this was very much I'm a dad. I get what you're doing, which we've never seen a doctor do
Yeah,
before.
yeah. Never
Yeah.
seen that.
I'm not saying that took me out of it as him being the doctor. I thought that's quite an interesting thing, you
See,
know. So
We've never had conversation about the doctor's kids, have we? Only his
No.
granddaughter.
There's only grandkids.
yeah.
Oh, granddaughter, yeah. Going back to the Villain Guard Corporation, it's something that has been mentioned before in the past, which was like, I think, in Twice Upon a Time, and I think it might have been mentioned in one of the Angel episodes as well. So it's a Stephen Moffat creation that he's brought back.
Was these Anglican bishops the ones in the Angel one?
Yes.
Remember
Yeah.
when it went? Oh
Yeah.
right, get that.
Oh
now.
yeah, he had the church been in the army in loads of his stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So,
They
yeah.
don't
Man
like the
Goes to
church,
War,
don't they?
and stuff like that. There's been quite a bit of it. And we might see Splice again. If you remember, right at the end, he goes, could be a future president or something. Now, obviously, they might bring back the character of Spice with a different actress, and
Yeah.
she might be as, as
I mean,
a
that lass
president
was so
or
old she
something.
could play the adult version as well, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Susan Twist as the adult version. Yeah, and that's the end of my notes. And my 2 words are quarry quandrum.
Oh, nice. That's
That's
good.
just come to me. That's
Oh, that's nice.
Boy quandrum. Yeah.
John.
It was all right. It was Doctor Who. My 2 words: fucking Anglicans.
Told you, dear listeners, that we're all much quicker than Suky. He can last forever. What about Cliff?
yes. You should know, Craig.
I know, darling.
Um, like I said, it just feels like something Stephen Moffat already had packed up. He's probably got tons of freaking scripts out there and stories he's never used before, and he's asked to put a few other things in. You could tell, and the
Like
fact that
Honey
it's
and Babe.
Yeah, it's that he relates it. You know what? I know I made fun of Shooty being emotional, but I think it's really good to see because we've never seen it before in a Doctor Who. But my 2 words are AI dildo.
AI dildo. Amazing.
I mean, that's pushing the 2-word thing
Yeah,
to
No,
a.
I
to-
mean,
AI,
I didn't want to say
AI
it, but yeah.
word.
He always has to take it to 3, doesn't it?
AI is 1 word, isn't it?
No, it's abbreviation for artificial intelligence, so technically it's 2.
You know you're in problem if Craig's correcting your Sheps. You know you've got to sort your
That's
shit out.
So Freudian.
I think we were all like, shall we let that go? Well, no, we're all picking
No,
this
we're
up.
never going to let it go with Cliff. Bob, what do you reckon?
Yeah. Dr. Ware is my 2 words.
Any final thoughts on the episode itself, or Doctor Where, is that where we're leaving it?
Talking about clothes you wear, that sort of wear, wearing of tyres.
Where
What
are
sort of-
you?
what version of wear are you
Where-
talking about?
where?
It's
No,
a,
but Bob
Where?
likes his fashion.
it's a
there.
homophone, so it's got many versions. I mean, is it where?
I really second watch. I really enjoyed it a lot more than the first watch because it's like when you have your first glass of whiskey, like you have it and it's horrible, it's hurting you and all that kind of stuff. Now I think I was a bit like that with the Doctor this time. Whereas when your second glass of whiskey, you know what to expect. You know what I mean? So I'd sort of simmered to it a little bit more. And I'm still open to seeing Shooty as a Doctor and thinking he's great because he has many attributes. I think a great Doctor. One of them being, we touched on it last week when you were talking about the tears, is the fact that men should talk, men can cry. All these things are brilliant things. I think that are great to be shown on screen by the Doctor.
That
But
is
we're not used to
correct,
them.
but that situation didn't merit it. Though. That's what I'm saying. That was what I was.
well,
I
thinking.
thought that was more. I thought it was more sweaty, actually, kind of tears of worry. I didn't see it as
Tears of
I
worry,
think- yeah,
sweat.
well, kind of. I did see it as sweat in the brow, kind of like stress points. I didn't think he was crying necessarily. I might have to
Yeah.
rewatch that on a third time.
It was. I mean, that was the beauty of this. He had to keep his nerve, he keep his anxiety and fear down. Ruby had died, or what he thought she had.
Yeah.
All these things going on around him, which was that's where the tension came from. But he had to keep calm, which I thought was a pretty idea.
I
He
like
acted
how-
it brilliantly well as an actor. I thought it was great. It's just first watch struggled to see Doctor. Second watch I saw a lot more Doctor. So yeah, my 2 words are Doctor Ware, WHERE.
And didn't he have to like keep his blood pressure down? And stuff
Yeah,
like
is yeah.
that? Mine
Yeah.
would have
I
gone
thought
through
that was
the
really
roof.
good.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
Millie
With
watched
2
it,
arts as well.
The 2 acts as well. Yeah. So there's many positives to this, and I do sound quite negative, but it's more me in search for Spock, search for the Doc. I think that's where I'm at, and I will get there, I'm sure.
Okay.
So thumbs up, Doctor
Brilliant.
Ware.
So for me, this was a massive improvement on the last 2 weeks. I really enjoyed it. Loved all the twists and turns. It seems to be one thing after another. Just when you thought you got it sorted as the Doctor and a landmine, then along comes the babe, not the baby, the young adult Splice. And then along comes Monday, and then along comes the guy that likes her. And it just seemed to really escalate, which I quite liked. And I thought it did have the tension, didn't have the emotion for me. That's what let it down, but that's not untypical.
Whoa, Millie nearly died. How could you not feel for
I
that?
didn't. I don't feel emotion from Stephen Moffat's writings. I rarely ever shed a tear.
That's because you're a cyborg,
And a
big
social
gay
path.
cyborg.
Yeah,
Hard
I
as
just
nails. Hard as nails.
don't. Hard as nails,
Like
right
his
through,
buttocks,
yeah.
really.
Just like my buttocks, exactly. Things bounce off me. So yeah, my big. My
big
2
butt.
words. No, that will make
I thought
sense.
you
in a
were
second.
about
My big.
to, not about tea.
my 2 words, and I'm quoting Shooty on this, I think, pretty much, is Big Bang, because I think that it was a big improvement. So I was going with Big Bang as my final 2 words. Boys, before we move on, is there anything else people would like to say?
Oh, do we need to roll a dice and choose the episode next week? Oh, no, we don't.
No, we don't, because next week's episode is 73 yards. And the question is, we're back to Russell. So can he actually keep the more adult tone that seems to have been set, or is it going to go back to a little bit more pantomime-esque? That's just my opinion. So we will tell. We'll see. Dr. Light story.
Apparently, we're in for an absolute horror fest. It's going to be, apparently, it's very good. So
it's a bit more traditional Doctor Who, apparently. That's what was it. Episode 4 is meant to be scary and dark. Yeah,
but it's Doctor Who horror. It's not really that scary, is it?
Oh, I don't know. I've seen Brain and Morbius.
It's scary if you're 8, but it's not scary if you're an adult.
Talons of Wencha and Rat.
Waters of Mars. That was scary as well. There's some real tension out there. Yeah. That's a bit harsh, that, John, for a fellow.
John. I think you should fucking sort yourselves out, boys.
So until next week, when we're reviewing 73 Yards, that's it from us. We hope you enjoyed the podcast, and we hoped you enjoyed Boom. And Stephen Moffat maybe has restored your faith in the new series of Doctor Who. Until then, goodbye, listeners. Bye-bye.
Kiss, 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 kiss.
Kiss, kiss. Good thinking, kiss, kiss.
Thoughts and prayers.